So far, you've learned the basics of packet filtering and how to use simple expression to narrow down network traffic. Now it's time to go a step further and focus on specific packet details related to an event of interest. In addition to the operators and expressions we covered in the previous video, Wireshark provides more advanced operators and functions. These advanced filtering options allow an analyst to perform a much more detailed investigation and quickly identify the traffic that matters. Let's start with the contain operator. So the contain operator is a type of comparison operator. It is used to search for a specific field or piece of text in a packet field. Example is we can find Apache service servers. So with this command here, we can use it to find Apache server. http://server contains Apache. So you hit enter or you click the arrow button. So our workflow is going to be like listing all HTTP packets where the server field contains the Apache keyword. After applying the filter, Wireshark will only display packet that matches our condition, just like here. As you can see, number 38 matches our condition. So let's expand it. So we go down to the hypertext transmission protocol. So here in the server, you can see the Apache. So this is a simple example of how contain can help us quickly identify a particular value inside packet data. So the next one, we have the matches operator. So this is also a type of comparison operator. So the matches operator allows us to search for a pattern using regular expression. Unlike contain, matches is case insensitive and is useful when we need to perform more complex pattern-based searches. So examples of such searches is like we're finding .php and .html pages inside a packet. So let's say we want to identify HTTP packets containing PHP or HTML pages. So we use this filter, and when we do that, you can see all. So they are HTTP, you can see .php. Let's expand number 4. So we go to the hypertext transmission protocol. You can see the HTML traffic here. So this demonstrates how pattern-based filtering can help us filter specific types of web requests. Next, we're looking at the in operator. So in operator is a kind of set membership. So the in operator allows us to check whether a value or field belongs to a specific set of values. Particularly useful when we want to search for multiple ports or IP addresses or other values without writing a long expression. So when we use this filter, we go to the transmission control protocol. So as you can see here in the destination port, you see port 80. So when you're looking for a specific port in a particular packet data, you use this in operator. So this operator simply gives us a cleaner or more convenient way to check multiple values. The next on my list is the upper function. The upper function converts a string field to uppercase. This can be useful when we want to perform a case-sensitive style of search by converting the fields to a consistent format first. You can use this upper filter. As you can see, when we apply this filter, number 38 came out. So let's examine the packets. So we go to the hypertext transfer protocol. So here in the server, after you expand the hypertext transfer protocol, you're going to see here in the server, it's also Apache. So just like what we're searching, the lower function, in terms of type, it's a function. So this one converts a string value to lowercase. For example, we're looking for an Apache server, so we can convert the HTTP server field to lowercase and search for the keyword Apache. So we can use this filter. Packet 38 came out. So we go to hypertext transfer protocol. We also get the Apache server also. So this function converts the value to lowercase before checking whether it contains the word Apache. Finally, let's look at the string function. In terms of type, it's a function. So the string function converts a non-string value into a string. This can be especially useful when we want to perform string-based operations such as pattern matching on numerical values. So example is like when you want to find frames with odd number. So with this command, we can also find frames with odd numbers. So the workflow, it's like it converts the frame.number field into a string, then uses a regular expression to find values ending in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So now, as you can see, when you look at the result, you can see we don't have 2, we just have odd numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, and the list goes on to the last number in the package. So these are all the frame numbers ending in odd digits. So the $sign at the end of the regular expression tells Wireshark that the matching digit must appear at the end of the value. So we've covered several advanced filtering operators and functions, but knowing how to create a filter is only a part of the process. So during an investigation, you may find yourself using the same complex filters repeatedly. So instead of typing those filters every time, Wireshark allows you to save them as bookmark and display button. So this can save a lot of time, especially when you are working with frequently used or complex filters. So let's use this filter for example. So to save this, you can just click on here. As you can see, save this filter, and you can name it whatever name you want to name it. So just name it something relevant. You can just name it whatever you want to name it. You can change the name. So I'll just, for demonstration purpose, I'll leave it as a new display filter, and I'll hit enter. So when I go to my bookmark, let me manage my display filters. As you can see it here, okay? So I can always apply it whenever I want to use it. So let's talk about creating and using the display filter button. So Wireshark also allows us to create display filter buttons. To create a display filter button, so you can see the plus icon here that says add a display filter. So you click it. So whatever filter you want to add, you can paste it here in the filter section. Then whatever label you want to give yours, but make it relevant. So for example, this filter is for odd number. I can name mine odd number frames. Then here in the comments, you can put whatever comment you want. I can say find all frames with odd number. When you're done that, when you're through with that, just click OK. You're going to see the display filter button appearing here. So when you left click, it's going to automatically apply it. For example, like this, as you can see, it automatically applied the filter. When you right click, you're going to see options there. You can see prepare as filter, copy, edit, disable. Even you want to remove it. This is a very useful feature when you have filters that you use regularly during investigation. So let's talk about the profile. So the final feature we'll look at is Wireshark profile. So Wireshark is a powerful and multifunctional network analysis tool. So during an investigation, you may need to configure many different settings. For example, you might use different display filters, coloring rules, preferences, layouts, filter buttons, or what have you. So changing these settings manually every time you start a different investigation can become repetitive and time consuming. So this is where Wireshark becomes extremely useful. You can create multiple profiles for different investigation scenarios and switch between them whenever necessary. So to access the profile, you go to edit, configuration, profile. So you can add a new profile. These are your existing profiles, so you can just add new profile, name it whatever you also want to name it. So for demonstration purpose, I'll leave it like this. Just click OK. So you can also access the profile. If you don't want to go through the edit, you can access it through the lower right here. So you can click it. As you can see, this is the new profile. I'm currently using the new profile. Before it was the default. Now I switched back to default. So you can move here fastly, or you can go through the edits. Make sure when naming your profile, make sure it's something, don't just leave it like new profile. It's going to be confusing at some point. So you make sure you name it something according to what you actually want to use it for. For example, it might be a profile you want for specific profile for web traffic analysis. Could be a malware investigation, could be network troubleshooting profile, could be DNS analysis, and the list goes on. So you can also delete a profile. Any profile you don't want, you can also delete it. So here's the new profile I created. If I want to delete it, I can just delete it here. When I click this, it's already deleted. Okay, so and that brings us to the end of this tutorial on advanced filtering in Wireshark. If this tutorial helped you, consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications so you don't miss the next lesson. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Peace out.